The small things we do every day are often played out with bad habits and practices. Some of these we might not even be aware of but can make a huge difference. Like how to best eat an apple, or the reason why those feet on your keyboard may be hurting you. Check out the 10 things you most likely do wrong every day. Number 10. Eating an apple. Cutting an apple is one of those simple jobs that we don't even think about. Most of us would typically cut the apple in half, and then cut out the core, so that we are left with the nice yellowish flesh. There are a number of reasons this isn't the best way to cut an apple. Firstly, the core is totally edible, so you don't have to bin it in the first place. However, a lot of people don't like to eat it, which is totally understandable because it's not the nicest part of the apple. The best thing to do in this case is use a spoon instead of a knife when cutting out the core. This maximizes the amount of yellowish flesh retained for consumption, so that you don't have to throw away perfectly edible parts of the apple along with the core. Number 9. Hammering nails. Hammering nails is one of those notoriously dangerous tasks that inevitably lead you to flattening your thumb into a pancake, but that's mostly because you've been doing it wrong. There's such an easy way to protect your fingers from the head of a heavy moving hammer. All you need is a pencil with a rubber on the end. Grab a utility knife and cut a nail-size slit in end. The pencil acts as a holder for the nail while you're hammering. Keep your fingers safely positioned behind the nail. No more pancake fingers. Number 8. Prevent static buildup. Static buildup is one of those annoying things that come from doing the washing. It occurs when clothes tumble around and rub against one another in the dryer and they exchange electrons. As some pieces of clothing are positively charged and others are negatively charged, they become annoyingly clingy to each other, leaving you in potentially sticky situations, like when you have to pull a sock from the inside of your pant leg and hide it frantically because you're at work or at school. This problem is easily resolved though, and it doesn't have to come with the cost of buying dryer sheets. The solution lies in aluminum foil. Simply scrunch lots of foil into hand-sized balls and throw 2 or 3 of them into the dryer. This time, the foil balls will discharge any static buildup as they tumble with your clothes. Genius! You can continue using them for months, and if they ever fall apart, just crumble some new foil over them. Number 7. Using chopsticks. Using chopsticks is one of those needlessly difficult tasks. Most of us just opt straight for ordinary cutlery when faced with a daunting task of using them. That's why you'd be glad to know there's a better way to hold these handheld pinchers. All you need is a toothpick and an elastic band. Snap the toothpick in half, and then place it in between the 2 chopsticks, securing it tightly with an elastic band. This will bind the sticks together and allow it to rebound back after you let go of your finger pushing down the stick. It basically makes eating with chopstick 10 times easier. Number 6. Earphones. Earphones can be really annoying devices, particularly when the wires get tangled up and you spend more time unraveling them than you do listening to music on them. That's why when you just throw the earphones in your pocket without much thought, you're costing yourself a lot of hassle in the future. What you should do is fold the cables up neatly like this. Fold them into a loop, and then use the wire close to the end of the head of each earphone to tie a knot around the looped wires. This will tightly secure the wires in a neat bundle. Ready for the next time you want to listen to your hardcore reggae metal or deep filth step. Number 5. Stirring and pouring honey. How do you stir or store your honey? If you've been using a metal storage container or spoon for this job, then you've been doing it all wrong. There's a really good reason for this too. Honey is very acidic with a pH of around 4, meaning it can react with the honey and cause a change in acceptable quality of the honey. This can also cause a discoloration in the honey. That's why honey dippers have been used for generations. They don't chemically harm the honey, meaning they don't impair any of the honey's flavor. Honey dippers are also more porous, and their design is brilliant for preventing the honey dripping if you rotate it on the way to your cup. So in the future, remember that wooden utensils or stainless steel spoons are preferable when transferring honey from containers. Number 4. Opening jars. Now to jars, we've all struggled to open them at least once. It can be seriously embarrassing, especially when that measly glass container starts to put your strength into question. But as you know, brain beats brawn. You've likely just been doing it wrong. You can easily open a stubborn jar using some household tools. First up, duct tape. All you have to do is attach the tape to the lid of the jar like this, making a little handle at the end. Just pull on it and voila! Next up, another great method. Rubber bands. Simply wrap one around the lid and put on a rubber glove. This will give you some much-needed grip. Now, it will be much easier to open that lid. If the previous two tricks didn't work, then try this. Use a spatula or something similar to hit the jar either on top or at the bottom. If that doesn't work, then grab a spoon and tap all around the top edge of the lid. That should loosen the seal, allowing the pressure to equalize slightly, making it easier to remove the lid. Finally, if all else fails, grab a hairdryer and heat up the lid with it. Or you could turn the jar upside down so the lid heats up in hot water. Then grab a cloth and twist the lid and it should open. This heat should expand the lid, loosening it up. Number 3. Folding shirts. If you don't have your mom to do all your washing, ironing and folding for you, then you probably just leave all your clothes bundled up on the ground in some huge pile. But it doesn't have to be this way. There is an amazingly simple way to fold all your clothes in under 2 seconds. All you have to do is follow these simple steps. First, lay your shirt down on the ground and imagine 3 points on the shirt positioned between the shirt center line and outside edge. A, B, and C, where A is halfway down the shirt. Start by pinching point A with your left hand and grab B with your right hand. Cross your hand over to pick up point C and then unfold your arms and fold the shirt back on itself. With just a bit of practice over time, you can perform this fold very quickly. It will save you a lot of time in the future. Number 2. Post-it notes. Turns out most of us peel post-it notes incorrectly from top to bottom. This bad habit leaves us with curly edges on our post-it notes. That means they lose some of their stickiness. If you want your post-it notes to stick, well, then just start at one side and pull the note to the opposite side. Voila! A flat line note. Okay, this may be a classic first world problem, but it matters if you care about your sticky note actually being sticky. Before I reveal the number 1 spot, I'd like to remind you to subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. We upload amazing fact-filled list videos daily. Also, make sure to click that bell icon to stay updated, or you'll regret missing out on some amazing knowledge that could have filled your brain. Now let's get back to it. Number 1. Keyboard feet. Have you ever wondered what those little feet that extend out the back of your keyboard are for? Most of us, like myself included, assume they exist for ergonomics, just to make the keyboard more comfortable to type on. However, this isn't entirely true. It turns out that feet under keyboards have been mandatory since the beginning of the 80s, when the International Organization for Standardization stipulated that it should be possible to adjust the rear height of all keyboards. Back then, people were used to typing at height with machines such as typewriters, so the feet were meant to adjust the keyboard to a higher angle that people were more used to. However, nowadays they're only important for people who can't type blind when the keys are extended. People who have to look at the keys and typically use 2 fingers to type have a better view of the keys, so it's advantageous for them to have the feet extended. However, a lot of people nowadays can type blind, and in this case, extending the feet on keyboards isn't much use. It can actually be harmful. If you're a blind typer and don't have to look at the keys when typing, then extending the feet can put your wrist at risk if they are angled back too far. For this reason, blind typers should keep the feet retracted and use a flat keyboard. Various studies have even demonstrated a beneficial effect on the wrist when angling the keyboard with a flat or negative incline. So if you're a proficient blind typer, then keep those keyboard feet retract. Did any of these hacks surprise you? Do you know of any other things most of us do wrong? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave this a like. Thanks for watching.